BeamNG's graphics are awesome. At least that's what you might think until you look up to the sky and see this. Yeah, that are two-dimensional clouds. 3D clouds have been standard in games for over a decade, so BeamNG is certainly outdated regarding this. Luckily, there's a very easy method to give the clouds a three-dimensional look, and the best part is that it doesn't require any mods or in-depth knowledge of BeamNG. Let's get into it. Start by loading any map. It doesn't matter if it's modded or vanilla, the only requirement is that it has clouds. Once you're in the game, press F11 to access the world editor and navigate to the scene tree. If you don't see the scene tree on your end, you can edit by going to the window tab and clicking on it. In the scene tree, search for clouds. Depending on the map, you may find one or two cloud layers. For now, I will just hide the first layer and open the second one in the inspector by simply selecting it. Here you can adjust various settings and change the appearance and movement of the clouds. Firstly, set the height to 10 and reduce the exposure down to 1, which might make the clouds near disappear. You will understand the reason for it shortly though. Next, open the drop-down menu for textures and copy my settings. I admit that I don't fully understand what each parameter does, but these values look the most realistic. Now, let's move on to the part you've all been waiting for, creating the three-dimensional effect. It's surprisingly easy, in fact you only have to stack multiple cloud layers onto each other. To do this, first make sure that the cloud layer you want to stack is selected, and press Ctrl C to copy it, and then Ctrl V to paste it. You can already see that the clouds in the background start to look more and more realistic. Repeat this for around 10 times, and voila, we now have 3D looking clouds in BeamNG. If the map has not a cloud layer, you can repeat these steps for that one as well. However, keep in mind that you may have to find other settings for the texture, exposure and height. Unlike a static skybox, which admittedly looks better on a screenshot, this method still allows you to change the time of day, and most importantly, it's a dynamic sky. However, there are some problems with this method. For example, it's quite power hungry, which is why I wouldn't recommend having more than 10 cloud layers at once. Going from this to this make me lose about 20 frames per second. Other than that, the clouds look unrealistically white and bright at midday, which is also the reason why we had to reduce the exposure at the beginning of the tutorial. There are ways to achieve even better looks, for example by replacing the normals with more realistic ones, but that does require in-depth knowledge of BeamNG. At sunset though, the clouds look absolutely fantastic even using this simple method, and this is definitely a great technique to improve BeamNG's graphics. Anyways, thanks for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it and see you next time.